I'm Paul Turner. I'm a professor of Ecology and Evolutionary Biology at Yale, and also of microbiology at the School of Medicine here. My topic spans these two areas of my affiliation. So the topic is evolutionary medicine. I have no visuals, which is a little bit like Tim mentioned for a biologist, rather daunting. So I'll take you on this journey through a narrative. So what is evolutionary medicine? This is applying evolution thinking to gain valuable insights and new perspectives in health and medicine, and disease especially. So what is this? It's a merger that establishes evolutionary biology as an essential science that helps us understand medicine and to complement our goals there. So the overarching goal of this is to integrate evolutionary thought into medical research and practice to help explain the origins of many medical conditions, including obesity, diabetes, asthma, heart disease, allergies, and aging, when you consider aging to be a medical problem. So the list could go on, but I was brief. What is medicine really interested in? It's understandably interested in making you better, solving your health problems, even saving lives when that can happen. But it actually doesn't grapple with something that is more widespread in biology. It doesn't grapple with understanding why are humans vulnerable to diseases at all, especially in comparison to other species on Earth that seem to have solved some of the disease problems that we face. One quick kind of example from humans is that we're a bipedal species. We stand around on 2 feet like I'm doing right now. We walk around all day on 2 feet. Our primate relatives do not do this, so we're distinctly different. Now that leaves us vulnerable to certain maladies, especially back and neck pain. It places a lot of pressure on our back and our neck. And this could be very bad. It could be a problem that requires surgery. It could lead to addiction to pain medication, and it can even drive suicidal thoughts in people. So it is definitely a quirk of human biology that has very profound consequences in some people. So why are our bodies not better equipped to avoid health and disease threats? Why do our own cells turn on us, ignoring checks in growth to become cancerous? Why do we have to grow old? The seminar will examine aspects of medicine where evolutionary approaches make important contributions. And this merger of evolution and medicine is gaining increased international attention. I happen to be the current president of an international society called the Society for Evolution Medicine and Public Health. This is a society that brings together scientists, physicians, and public health experts. And we're devoted to advancing knowledge in this area, and I'm excited to again lead a seminar on the topic for the first time in 14 years. Let me explain it a bit further, and I'll begin with the area that is closest to my own expertise, and that's our fight against infectious disease pathogens. Human societies remain highly vulnerable to the mortality and economic losses inflicted by disease pathogens. This is very clear. For these reasons, the control of infectious disease constitutes one of the greatest challenges that faces humans today. But the challenge is not new. Human biological and cultural evolution have been profoundly impacted by our past interactions with disease pathogens, which have literally shaped our DNA as some of that pathogen genetic material becomes permanently inserted. You're carrying around roughly 8% of your DNA is derived from old virus infections that happened long ago in evolution. But the consequence on our culture is it impacts our art, our music, and other traditions. How do pathogens cause disease in humans and other organisms? What are the hallmarks of these past human diseases as revealed through cultural artifacts, our human genetic variation, and efforts like the Human Genome Project? How vulnerable are we and other host species to global epidemics or even extinction that would be caused by a disease pathogen? Evolutionary medicine highlights that infectious disease pathogens outpace our own evolution. That's the main problem in all of this. And we try to offer up ways to address these questions. Clearly, the current pandemic that we're living through shows that we can literally transform the world through technology, but remain vulnerable to a virus and its subsequent variants that have already brought the world to a standstill. And it certainly has set back the education of our youth, as you've seen in the classrooms. Many other areas of evolutionary medicine, I'll briefly touch on these, will be examined in the seminar as well. Aging is a health problem where our bodies break down over time, failing to maintain physiology and avoiding the inevitability of death. But you have to ask, why is this so? What we can learn from other species is how is it that some trees live for literally thousands of years? And even clams, which are distant relatives, but many of them live to be 200 or 300 years old. And it's not exactly clear why they have this advantage over us in terms of longevity. Going quickly to cancer. This is something that plagues humans. Your immune systems are constantly surveilling your body, trying to monitor for the inevitable presence of cancer and to try and stop it before it becomes more problematic. So your cells in your body have an agreement. They multiply enough to form an organ such as a pancreas or the colon, or to replenish cells that make up your largest organ, which is your outer skin. But if they ignore the checks on growth, they gain an advantage over other cells. And this is what we call cancer. Cancer itself is an evolutionary process where some cells are gaining an advantage over others. And so by this logic, you can scratch your head and wonder, well, why is it that if it's merely a consequence of cells dividing and then there's a probability that they can go cancerous, why is it that all large-bodied creatures don't grapple with this problem? All elephants and whales should have cancer, but they don't. And the answer lies, again, in evolution. They are your very distant relatives, but they have duplicated genes that are called tumor suppressor genes. And they're related to the exact same genes that you carry, but they have many, many, many copies of them. So they're able to supercharge their ability to look around for cancer in their bodies and to stop it before it becomes a threat to their mortality. And it would be awesome if we could capitalize on that understanding and change our own biology accordingly. It's a possibility. Evolutionary medicine involves this understanding of how other creatures have evolved to avoid the same health and disease problems that we face. And it does give us some hope that we might apply bio-inspired solutions learned from them. Another example is that allergies are on the rise. Clearly you see this. Many of them are life-threatening, as you see in nut allergies that alter which foods are safe for your classrooms and your cafeterias. But why is this so? And why is it that it's mostly a problem in Western countries, such as the USA? There are many differences that separate typical households in a Western country versus a developing world country. One huge difference is that most of us in the West do not live in rural environments, and/or we experience medicines in early childhood that are very important for protecting us against infectious disease. So, for example, we very, very rarely get worm infections as young people in places like the USA. But there's an idea from evolutionary medicine called the old friends hypothesis that suggests that this lack of exposure to disease pathogens at a young age, it has a profound consequence for the training of your immune system. You basically don't see these pathogens early on, and the consequence is that your immune system doesn't really learn to look for them, and it starts to look for other things. And we call this autoimmune disease. It starts to turn on you and attack you rather than attacking something that historically had been present in the environments in which humans live. And allergies are certainly a prime example of autoimmune disease. Evolutionary medicine concerns other so-called mismatches to modernity, especially our increasingly easy access to high-fat, sugary, and/or processed foods. These are easily obtained. They are calories that we add to our diet. And you can even go to fast food chains and get, for the average dollar, much more food than you can get in the supermarket. And that's far different than the vast amount of time that human evolution has taken place on this planet preceding the current day. That's a mismatch that helps us explain epidemic rates of obesity in the USA and around the world as more and more humans adopt this similar diet that is spreading. You get the idea. It's a rather sobering topic. I think I better stop. I'm excited to explore these and other topics in my seminar on evolutionary medicine. We'll read at least one recent book on the subject. We'll look at book chapters and other readings designed for the lay public mostly, but they're very rich texts to draw from. The seminar would be appropriate for teachers in biology and related subjects at all grade levels. So I hope it intrigues you. Thanks.